Thank you very much for joining the onboarding session. Next administrative steps after receiving your offer. This is the second session. For the same onboarding session, we are gonna go ahead. Before we begin the session, I want to take this opportunity to congratulations to you on receiving offer admission to the program. One of the programs at the graduate creative school graduate programs. This is a very important milestone for your journey here with us, and I look forward to work with you and support with you during your entire studies with us. Okay. Before we begin the session, Toronto Metropolitan University is located in both downtown Toronto and Brampton. We have a new campus there. I would like to acknowledge that land. Toronto is in the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent indigenous nations, peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Some of you are studying TMU, so you're familiar with the TMU land acknowledgement. For those of you who are internationally located, if you are not familiar, I encourage you to check out our land acknowledgement resources, TMU website to learn more about it. Okay. Um, Tonight's session, just a couple reminder, we are going to pass for each major section for the questions and answers. So you can, I'm gonna stop for each particular topic and you can answer questions. You can type in the chat, you can ask it directly. Please don't share personal information or student IDs. We are going to share the slides on the onboarding website and the recording on the website as well. So you do have those information later on. For the agenda, we're going to cover deposit payment conditions, study permit, enrollments, scholarships, orientation dates, and the Toronto Metropolitan Graduate Student Union, and question and end as well. But in each section, we're going to have questions and answers as well. Um, just to remind you, this is a high level information. And so we're not going to go into the details, but we do have individual session for each topic later on. So you will see those individual sessions on the onboarding website. Okay, for the admission deposit, this information is on your offer of admission. Um, so you can always refer back to the offer letter you can find under your student center in the communication section. So you can open the letter. It's depending on your international domestic, they're a couple pages long. On the first page, you will see the deposit deadline for domestic. That is June 15. For a full-time program, it's 500, part-time 250. For international, the deposit is 2,000. The due date is the same due date, 1 month from the offer date to confirm the offer. Also, pay the deposit to secure your seat. Here, I want to pause here to emphasize a domestic deposit. On your offer letter, it mentions June 1st. You can pay. This wording is required from the Minister of the Education. If you want to make a deposit earlier than June, for example, anytime from today, before June 1st, you can do that. So I just want to clarify that. Okay, why you need to pay a deposit? A deposit required to reserve your seat in the program. Is not refundable. Will apply to directly towards your tuition. And so whatever the tuition you have for September, once you pay the deposit, the tuition will minus the 500 or 2,000. That information will be reflected later on in September once you are enrolled. So you will see that in your student center. Every student receive offer, you have some sort of the funding. You cannot use your funding, future funding, to replace a deposit. So you do need to make a deposit by June 15 or offer confirmation deadline for international 1 month from your offer date and to reserve your seat. Okay. How to make your deposit. If you are making a deposit from in Canada, it's very straightforward. You can make a deposit with a Canadian bank or any credit union. You can walk into a bank or you can use an online bank app. Very straightforward information. By the way, those information are on the deposit program website. You can always refer back to. You can add the Toronto Metropolitan University as a payee. Always add your 9-digit TMU student number. You can find your student number on your offer of admission letter. Depending on which institution you are going to make a deposit, it will show either Toronto Metropolitan University or Toronto Metropolitan U/TU -R, and you follow the steps, so it's very straightforward. Um, for international, you do have two options to make a deposit depending on where you are located outside of Canada. TMU has partnered with two international institutions. The first one is CIBC International Student Pay. This one, you don't need to have a CIBC bank account. You can simply just go to their website, follow the steps there. It's very convenient. So you can use a credit card, you can use debit, whatever methods they offer. The second option, Canberra, this one, very similar as CIBC. They offer a competitive exchange rate. Um, all the information is on the Canberra website. The only difference is Canberra does offer linguistic support in your local language, depending on where you are located. And so this might offer some convenience to some of you if you are located in a particular area outside of Canada. So check ahead and let us know if you have any questions. Lots of students reach out to have a question, say, how do I confirm the TMU will receive the deposit? TMU doesn't issue the invoice, so you refer to your offer admission to pay the deposit. The deposit information, the payee information, for example, is on the deposit website. Um, when you make the deposit, usually depending on where you are located, if it's in Canada, usually takes about 2 to 3 business days. If it's outside of Canada, it usually takes about 7 to 15 business days, depending on where you are located outside of Canada. Once you done the payment, TMU will receive on the one endpoint, depending on where you are making the deposit. You can log in to My Service Hub, Student Center, and you will see the deposit. Usually it's show on the first page, account summary. Here is a screenshot with minus 500 credit. This is the example for a domestic applicant. So you will see a credit, which is a balance minus 500. That means your deposit is received. You can also print out a deposit statement. Is on the left hand under student fees, my account. This PDF paper will shows TMU, the program, your name, your student ID, all the details, so you can have this on hand. So I went through the information pretty quickly, but after this topic, I will stop. So if you have any questions, I can answer. For the graduate tuition and the fees, there are two components. The first component is tuition that usually cover the academic cost or general operating cost of the university. Then you have the salary fees And this one will cover support programs, services, facility that are outside the academic programming. Here we have a screenshot. We use Fashion MA, for example. Um, you are seeing the fees right now is for the fall 2025 until spring summer 2026. So all the tuition fee are for the fall 2025 to spring summer 2026. For the fall 2026 tuition fee, the university will update the information sometimes in July this year. So you will see that. It will be a little bit increase, but not much difference. Here you can see the tuition fee is divided by 3 terms: fall, winter, spring, and summer. For the fall term, the tuition is higher. And you can see, for example, fall 2025 Fashion MA, tuition is around 3,000. Then you have academic support, career services. Then all the way to the back, you have TMU, TMGSU, Health and Dental Plan, or the program specific fee, $75. So all the information is on the graduate tuition fees website. So you have all those breakdown. And so for the fall, the tuition fee is always larger than the winter and the spring summer. So this will give you a good idea to budget yourself for the entire academic year. So I'm gonna mention every student receives some form of funding, either admissions awards, or later you might receive OGS or TMGS or SHRC, for example. Your tuition fee is divided by 3 terms. So you just see an example for Fashion MA. The tuition payment is due the first month of each term. So for the fall 2026 is September, winter is January, and spring summer is May. There is a late fee that will apply automatically on the third business day for the next month. So for the September will be the October. So you kind of have to plan ahead and make sure that you make the tuition a little bit a couple of days ahead. So you make sure the fees will be received by TMU in time by the end of the first month, which is September. Your scholarship will be deposited into your student center in 3 equal installments. That usually around the third week of the first month. So for the September, you will see that deposit in the third month of the September. So we are going to have an example here. Again, we're using Fashion MA with a domestic student. If you paid a June a 500 deposit for June 15, if you receive a TMGF 3,000 for the 2026 to 2027, so the 3,000 will be split equally in 3 terms. And so in September, you will receive 1,000. January, you will receive 1,000. And May, you will receive another 1,000. So if you look at the fall 2025 tuition fee, right now we can only use current information, for example. If your tuition is 4,100, you can minus the 5,500 deposit, and then the 1,000 scholarship you're going to receive in September. So you have about 2,600 tuition to pay. So if you do a simple calculation, you can only make the tuition in September, early September. So you don't have to make exactly 4,000 because you paid 5,000 deposit already, and you are going to receive your scholarship in the third week of September. So that way, that will help you to pay your tuition. So here is just a reminder that fall tuition is a little bit bigger than the winter and the spring summer. So this will help you to budget yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here. I went through the information really quick. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me check the chat. Any questions we have here? Could you explain how we should register for graduate assistants which belong to PhD students? Um, I'm going to cover that topic, but I'm going to answer your questions now. For PhD students or all the master graduate students, for the assistantships, if you are talking about research assistant or academic assistant, you can apply sometimes as early as July this year. You apply in the TMU career website. I'm going to share the link. If you Google TMU career, I'm going to share this link with you. So if you open the link, there's a section for students. You will see research assistance opportunities, graduate assistant, teaching assistant, lab monitor, exam invigilator opportunities. Also on top, first two, you will see career boost and a career co-op center. So all of those opportunities are for students. Each faculty will post their assistantships position sometimes as early as July. Most of them is early August throughout the academic year. So keep eye on the TMU career site, and then you can apply by then. Very good question. Is it too late to apply for scholarships? And depending on which scholarship you are referring to, let me know which scholarship so I can explain. But I'm going to cover scholarships after enrollments. So we will have the scholarship information later on. When does the course registration open? I'm going to also cover that. We are going to send you the course schedule sometimes in July once everything is finalized. We will begin to enroll you in mid of August. You don't have to enroll yourself for graduate students at TMU. We enroll you doing your entire studies with us. And so you will have that information later on. Do we make semester payments the same way we make the deposit payments as in making the school a payee? Yes, correct. Yeah. For the tuition, you have three options to, we have three institutions that we partner with. So you have three options to make a tuition, but for deposit, you only have two options. So if you check out the link for the tuition website, and you will see that information there. Great question. Where do I find the date to pay the tuition fee for the post-professional MID program? The deadline is end of each month. The exact date is on the tuition website here. Let me share it with you. Great questions. I like that you guys are checking information ahead so you get yourself prepared. Okay, so I'm gonna share tuition fee. Here. Okay, great questions. I'm looking at the time is 6:24, lots of information to cover. So I'm gonna go ahead to continue with the next information, and then I will come back for the questions. So I'm gonna continue with the conditions. You can refer to your conditions on your offer admission letter again. That is in your student center under communications. For the condition, very important, there's a deadline is August 7. You need to pay your, you need to clear your conditions by this date. Conditions usually we refer to official transcripts. This is clearly stated under the condition section, so you can take a look of your offer letter. Here we have an example. This one is official transcripts. There are two ways to submit your conditions. If the institution that you graduated before that provide electronic official transcripts, you can request that. to send it directly to graduate admissions, grad applicants at torontomu.ca. This information is also on your offer admission letter under the conditions. If the institution that you graduated from, they only provide physical copy, you can request that as well to send it to TMU. The exact address is Graduate Admissions Office, TMU. The common address is 350 Victoria Street. All the details are here. Very important, if you graduate already, you can follow up with your conditions now instead to wait for later. Depending on where you graduate from, whether it's in Canada, outside of Canada, especially if you graduated from an institution that is outside of Canada internationally, if they only provide physical copy, so that takes a certain timeline for international postal mail to be delivered. So you are encouraged to follow up right now instead to wait for later. The condition tied strictly to your enrollment. So earlier that you clear your condition, you will be matriculated earlier in early August, so we can enroll you. We can follow up with online identity activation, TMU email, all those information. So it's always good to follow up early on. If you are in your last term and you finish sometime in June, so you can wait until your official grades to be released and you can follow up with the official transcripts right after. You are going to receive a reminder sometime in late June or early July from graduate admissions about your condition. If you receive this, this is just an automatic email from them about the condition. If you followed up already with your condition, you can ignore the email. If you haven't, great, you receive a reminder, so follow up with them. If you have any questions about your condition, please reach out to the graduate admissions, grad applicants at torontomu.ca. Always add your student ID number, your full name, so that way you can help them to speed up the process to follow up with you. Here again, just a same reminder that if you are not able to clear your condition, whatever the scenario you have, follow up with the graduate admissions, they will advise you accordingly. Because they are the ones to oversee the entire process. So reach out to them. If you would like to copy the program email, you can do so. If you have scenario, for example, translations or complicated scenario, reach out to them early so they can follow up with the program, which is us, so we can come up with a solution. All right, so I'm gonna pause here to see if we have any questions. So far, I don't see any questions here. For the PhD program, I see a question here for the part of the assistantships. Okay, so for the PhD, you have a granted minimum 20,000 funding for each academic year. Your funding package will be communicated with you via email sometime in July once the assistantship information is confirmed. So you will have that information sometime in July. So if you, I also emailed each individual PhD student. So if you can refer to the email, you will know the detailed funding package. Either it's funding with the combination of academic assistantship or graduate assistantship or other sort of funding. So all of those information are in the works. So you will have that confirmation sometimes in July by email. A question, can you explain where to find deposit portal? I don't see it in my service hub. The Deposit portal, there isn't a deposit portal, as I mentioned earlier, depending on which methods you are going to pay deposit. If you are inside Canada, you can pay with your bank. You just need to go to the institution, or you can make a payment on your online banking app. If you are outside of Canada, there are two options. You can either with the CIBC or Canberra. They have the website that is on the tuition fees deposit website. You will have all the information after the session. The slides will be posted on the onboarding session and also with a recording. Earlier I shared the tuition fee website. So all the information is on the tuition website as well. There isn't a portal on the student service that you are going to make the deposit. You need to either go to the financial institution website or you make the deposit with your online banking. Good question. Um, and the question from Raha, do we need to apply, register, secure, or send us? You don't need to apply, you don't need to register if you are referring to the assistantships for the PhD program. Those are part of the funding package. So that means we already reach out to the faculty. We already negotiated for the assistantships with them already. And we already forward your resume to them so they know your skills and they match for the assistantship position. We already secured it for you. Um, um, so you don't need to apply or interview or anything. However, for PhD students, you have option to apply for additional assistantships if you are able to manage the workload, additional workload. So that information is the same I mentioned earlier. You can apply any assistantships on TMU career student section, sometimes as early as July when each faculty post the assistantships positions. All right, you're welcome, Raha. I'm gonna continue, just be mindful of the timeline here. All right, so study permit for international students. Each program we have some international students compared with domestic. You guys, every program has a minimum from 1 to up to 5 international students. So if you are one of the international, congratulations. It's highly competitive to receive an offer to a graduate program, especially if you are in a PhD program. Very important, this is a reminder, we have our international student support team at TMU. We have a group of student advisor. They are certified from IRCC, so they have knowledge and expertise to advise you on study permit related questions. They had the info session for study permit outside of Canada, inside of Canada back then in February. We have the recording on the website. You can check the link and register and to watch the recording. They also have the upcoming study permit info session. And the next one is if you're applying from United States, that is April 15. If you are applying in Canada, then that is April 28. So this is just two reminders for those of you who apply from USA or in Canada for a study permit. It's very important to follow up with your study permit after you confirm your offer, paid your deposit. Since it's already early April, depending on where you are located, either inside Canada, outside Canada, there are certain timelines required to apply for a study permit. Here we have a link from IRCC, so you can plug your information, your country where you're applying from. So IRCC will give you an estimate timeline, so you know how many weeks estimate that you are required to apply and receive a study permit. If you are applying in Canada, usually takes about 6 weeks. So highly encourage you to check out and take advantage of the international student support, the resources that we have. Um, if you have any questions about study permit, you can make a appointment with them. They offer virtual, in-person, one-on-one appointment. They also offer um, studying permit application overview. So that require you to submit your information with them on their website with the portal, and then you can we schedule a 30 minutes individual session with one of the student advisors so they can advise you on the application that you submitted accordingly. We also have Zach Ruth Walker. He is the student advisor for graduate students. So you're welcome to reach out to him. There's his email and also book appointment with him as well. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of those resources and follow up with your studying permit. All right, so I'm gonna pause here again. Can you provide a link interested info session in February? That is on the onboarding website. So I'm gonna share the onboarding website. So on the onboarding website, if you scroll down, you will see onboarding sessions and you will see that February there are two. You do need to register, fill out your information. Once you do that, click, you will see you are able to watch the recording. If you go to ISS TMU website, they also have recording on the studying permit section as well. All right, great. If there's, I don't see any more questions about study permit. Great, I'm gonna continue. Okay, here is information about enrollment timeline and process. Um, so I wanted to remind you guys, as a graduate student at TMU, we enroll every course for you, so you don't need to enroll course on your behalf. Um, Very important to note, as a graduate student, you have a continuous enrollment from fall, winter, spring, and summer. So we wanted to put a reminder here for the spring, summer, until you finish your entire program, either it's 1 year, 2 years, or entire 4 years for a PhD. There are exceptions if there exceptional circumstance for parental, medical, or compassionate reasons for leave of absence, individual circumstance. If you have anything encounter like that, through any point of your studies with us, reach out to us, which is to the program, and also to your graduate program director immediately, so we can advise you accordingly. Um, for the enrollment dates, we will begin to enroll you in early August. Graduate admissions will matriculate the first batch of students. If you pay your deposit, you clear your conditions. Graduate admissions will not able to matriculate you if you haven't cleared your conditions. So very important to follow up with that. Once they matriculate you, we will be able to enroll you. Once you are enrolled, you are able to apply, activate your online identity, follow up with your TMU email activation, apply for one card, and then you will have access to all the student resources. And then we will be able to enroll you, so you will have all those information. So very important to follow up with that. Um, some point usually is around July and August. Last year, we were able to share the timetables for fall 2025 in middle of July, and also electives information at that time. So we will email each student in each program with the enrollment information, the process, the timeline, and also the elective information. For the electives, if your program requires elective in the fall 2026, this information you can refer to the curriculum section on each program. So you can see required courses and the elective. So you are aware all the electives, all the required courses you are going to take, and then elective, how many electives you are required. Usually it's one. So we will reach out to you with a Google form. We will have the available electives for each program. So you can select the electives back to us. And then based on that information, we will enroll you. So keep eye on your email. Um, for the electives, we have a lot of information. You can choose to enroll an elective with the program that we offer. For some programs, we don't have electives to offer, so you do need to take electives outside of your program. For example, Master of Interior Design, you don't have elective offered in your program. So all the 11 graduate programs at the Creative School, we share all the electives with all the graduate students. The electives will be updated on the elective website. So you will see all the electives closer to early August. So you will have all the information there. You also have option to audit a undergraduate courses that requires permission from your graduate program director, your supervisor, and also course availability, and then the approval from the instructor from the undergraduate course. There is a process, also timeline, also the course audit form. A lot of information, but don't worry, we will have all this information shared with you closer to the date. Very important to note, you can take a audit a undergraduate course, but the course will not count towards your graduate degree requirements. Um, so very important to note about that. I see a lot of questions coming. Okay, here, let me see. Um, the question, how will we be notified of condition or know if we don't have any? So your condition is on your offer of admission letter. You can check your offer of admission letter on your student services. So log into my student service hub, student services, under the communications, usually it's on the right section, and then you have offer admission letter. And then there's a PDF file and usually on the first page, conditions, deadline August 7th, then the conditions there. So check your offer admission letter. The next question, will the course selection form be sent to TMU school email or personal email? Very good question. Um, if you have a both TMU email or the personal email on file, um, when you apply, we will send it to your both emails. Preferably, we usually would send it to the personal email. So depending on which email when you filled out, when you apply on the OUAC, that's the email we have in the system. That's the email we have on hand. So that's the email we will communicate with you. So to be safe, you check both emails. Very good question. Is there any website we can see the course for PhD Media and Design? The course, we can see the courses. The courses is on the PhD and Media Design website. Um, so if you just simply Google that or type the Creative School graduate studies, all the program are there. Okay, so let me share that website. Then you will see all the programs there. So PhD is one of the programs. And then curriculum section, you will see all the courses. Um, okay. Next question. Can you please send the link for elective requirements? Um, all right. Let me share the links now. Electives TMU. Creative School. All right. I'm gonna send that. So I just shared the that creative school elective courses we share among all the graduate students at the creative school. The information we have right now is only for spring summer 2026. So you will see there are not many courses are there because generally speaking, electives are very limited for spring summer. You will see the updated information sometime in July by the time when we email you about the electives. So keep an eye on the website page. I'm going back to say what other questions. When do we become eligible for a team email account and how should we make one? Very good question. You will be eligible to have a TMU email account sometime in early August, actually mid of August, just to be safe. If you pay the deposit, if you clear your conditions. So that's why I emphasize the earlier you clear your condition, you will be matriculated earlier in early August, so you will be able to follow up with the um, online identity activation. So you will switch from applicant to student. Then you will have the TMU email, and then you can apply for one card. So since we're talking about this, I'm going to share the website with you guys. So you have that information. It's actually on one of my resources. I have too many links opening. Okay. Okay, so here is the link. All right, so this is the link. So since you can see my screen, I'm gonna just scroll down. So this is essentially information about everything that we are going to talk about on the onboarding sessions. Here you will see the steps. So the timeline here usually is middle August. So all the helpful information. So this is also linked on the onboarding website as well. So check out this page. All right. We're talking about, okay, so I'll go back to here. We're talking about enrollment. All right, very good question. The next one, there's a direct question. Are we able to make more elective than the minimum required? Very good question. Yes, you are. You are able to, and there's you can, if your program requirements, if you need a two or three, usually it's the three electives, you can take an additional two. So for a total of five, there isn't really a limitation. However, you do need to think of your workload, and also you kind of have to guarantee that you can satisfy your own program requirements, make sure you get a good grades. And then in addition, on top of that, you take additional electives that are not for credit. So definitely you can take more electives if you just want for your own knowledge and resources or growth. Very good question. The next one, are all classes offered during the week or class offered on the weekend? We don't have classes offered on the weekend. All classes during daytime? Yes. So all the classes are offered Mondays to Fridays, anytime from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. For the 6 p.m. courses is very rare, but sometimes we do have. Usually those are courses are electives. Every class is 3 hours. For the graduate seminar, that one is 2 hours and is offered every 2 weeks. But for rest of the classes, they are all 3 hours each long. They are all scheduled Monday to Friday, anytime 9 a.m. and or 6 p.m. No classes on weekends. Very good question. Next question. If we have been accepted into multiple graduate programs, how long do we have to decide which program we're going with? Also, is it possible to defer a program we have been accepted for? Possibly until after we complete another. Very good question. Congratulations if you receive offer from more than one program. So I assume you are very competitive. Each offer for each program, there is a deadline to confirm. If you are domestic, there are some we have some flexibility. we can let you know. Maybe you can have extensions depending on the program if there are seats or if there's no waitlist students on the list. So we can definitely extend your deadline. But also, um, if you know you are going to accept one program rather than another, they are all creative programs for sure. You're gonna attend that program at the Creative School TMU. You can go ahead to accept it. You still have June 15 to make a deposit. It is non-refundable. So you got to make sure that you will attend at least one program, right? For certain programs, because um, for some programs, they are very competitive and we have waitlists on the students. So extension might be limit depending on graduate program director's decision. Um, if you're a international, unlikely we will give you extension simply because for the international students, we have a 1 month, 30 days to accept and pay the deposit. Because international students, they have a very limited time frame to apply for a study permit. So we have to be mindful to not taking a seats and then for the next best candidate on the list. Also because we have very limited seats for international in each program. So for international, the extension is very limited by each individual program. Very good question. Um, all right, let me see. There is a direct question. My offer admission letters has a deposit and financial support section, but no condition section. Does this mean it's clear for condition? Yes, correct. If you don't see a conditions section on your offer admission, that means you don't have conditions. Everything is set, so you don't worry about that part. If you are domestic, you just need to follow up with the deposit, same as the international deposit and study permit and accommodation, etc. Okay, great questions. Um, it's 6:52, so I'm gonna briefly talk about the funding just because the timeline. Okay, for the funding, every student receives the offer. You receive some sort of funding admissions awards, usually either TMGF or TMGDA, depending on your status, whether you're domestic or international. There is OGF Ontario Graduate Fellowship, 12,000. This is awarded to one top domestic applicant in each program. This will be announced sometime after June 15 when all the domestic students paid their deposit. So the graduate program director has discretion to make that decision. This is something we will follow up with the program with that top student. Um, if your program is a 2 year program, Master of Journalism, Master of Interior Design 2 year, or script writing 2 year, we also have some admissions awards for your second year. That information will be communicated with you sometime in July 2027 when we receive funding from the university. So just to rest assured, you have some admissions funding for your second year. You don't need to apply. You just have to keep a good academic standing. Um, there are some external funding for OGS, TMGS. This is for students if you have A minus. For your third year, first year, if you only have bachelor or if you have master, the last year master or last year bachelor. If you were eligible, we emailed you sometimes in early March or late February. And also we have reminder email. So email subject is admissions process updates, OGS TMGS scholarship application. So there is a supplemental form asks you to sign. So you simply just need to sign, give your consent. So we will include your admission application for competition. So if you haven't done so, I'm not sure that you can still follow up, check your email, follow up with individual program email. The results will be available early May and onwards. When I say onwards, it's sometimes until September, sometimes even until winter. So this OGS recipients information is very involving. So keep eye on the program email from early May and onwards. For your second year, if you are still eligible, we will email you to let you know that you are eligible to apply. So there is a different application process. Um, Bridging Divine's entrance scholarship, and this one is a master. If you applied for a Bridging Divine stipends scholarship by past April 1st deadline, they will have results sometimes in mid of July. They will notify the student and copy the program. Just be patient if you apply. For your second year, you can also apply. This is entirely based on your major research topic. If you have any questions, please reach out to Bridging Divine. Um, for PhD students, you can also apply for this. If you apply, same information. I think for the PhD is also sometime in July they will have results. You can also apply when you are in the second year. When you are in the, I think for the PhD is up to how many years? 2 years, 4 years. So great. So PhD, it is a 4 years, so you can apply every year if your MRP falls under their research topic. Other fundings, for example, we have award spring. This is a database. Once you are enrolled in September, you will have more information about this. This one is entirely based on your funding. You can apply. We will have individual award spring session. And so we will have a dedicated 1 hour to talk about award spring. That is sometime. It's on our onboarding website, award spring. Once we have that information confirmed, we will post a word spring there. So just keep an eye on the onboarding website. I will also email you guys to remind you about the upcoming session. And the second one is assistantships. So I talked about this earlier, so I'm gonna skip this, but I see a question and I will answer that just in a minute. Career Boost, this is one of the sections under the TMU Career Boost for all the students apply for opportunities on campus. So check out there. For the OSAP, this one is for domestic applicants. Um, there are some changes from the government this year. Not a great news, but still, they still have some percentage of grants. And that's the money that you don't have to pay back. So if you are exploring this, check out on the OSAP TMU website, and we have a lot of resources there. We also have a lot of scholarship awards on the Yale School of Graduate Postdoctoral Study website. It's all entirely based on your research topic, your financial situation, your personal status. So check out them, apply if you are eligible. On the same page, they also have external funding. So check out all of the information are essentially depending on your financial situation, your major research project. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. Let me see what question. A question, are there any scholarships for mature students? Good question. We don't distinguish mature or not mature. All the students, doesn't matter you graduate from a 4 years bachelor degree or you complete a master degree, you come in to do a second master, or you graduate many years and with some professional work experience or number of professional work experience. All the graduate students in our programs across the creative school, they are in these categories. So they are all students. We don't call mature or non-mature. They all receive admissions awards based on their admission application. And for the master programs, if you are in the 2 years, you will have admission awards for your second year. For the PhD, is granted every year for all the full-time students, including domestic, international. You have 20,000 each year. The detailed funding package is admission awards with a academic assistantships or graduate assistantships or other sort of funding. So that information will be confirmed sometimes in July. We will email you. So stay tuned. Very good question. Um, what's the program director's email for MID? MID, the program director email is Lois Walsall. So that is also on the program website. So let me share with you now. All right. It's already 7:01. For those of you, if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off. I know it's a long day. Um, if you do have questions, just be patient with me, and you can unmute yourself, ask questions, or you can type questions in the chat. All right. I don't see any more questions. Thanks very much for joining this session. Very nice to meet some of you. Clear all the you guys share the screen, so I'm able to see you guys. Nino, nice to meet you. I remember you. Welcome to the
Yes,
program.
thank you so much for the information. It was very useful.
You're welcome. So this is a high level information just to get you guys informed for certain topic scholarships. Enrollments, we have a dedicated 1 hour session later on. It's all listed on the onboarding session. And we also have lots of information for, actually, I have more information about orientation dates. Um, so I kind of forgot about that. Okay, so we are going to have the GBD meet and grade. Essentially, this is your very short session, either 30 minutes or 45 minutes, depending on each program, how many students we have. The GBD will have this session with all the students. You will be invited. It will be a virtual. The information will be shared from the program once it's confirmed. So it's anywhere, anytime between June 1st, June 19. So keep eye on your email. So it's great to meet your GPD and meet your peers, your future classmates in that virtual meeting. We have program specific orientation that is end of the August. So that is a very detailed, holistic orientation. Highly encourage you to attend. That will be, and that information will be communicated to you closer to August, so early August. For international students, usually that one is in person. And so we schedule end of the August to accommodate international students. We also have graduate student orientation. That's for all the graduate students, master degrees, PhD. We have day one, day two. We have social. So that's including all of you guys. That's usually in person. So all of the information we will update the time, the date, the format on the onboarding website. So you will have that. There's the last piece of information is the significant dates. Um, this one is essentially an academic calendar. Right now, we only have fall 2025 to the spring summer, but we will have the fall 2026 sometime in early July once it's confirmed. So with these dates, for those of you, if you have a part-time job or if you are planning to work during the gaps for Christmas, upcoming Christmas. I mean, a little bit early, but it's good to have the dates so you can apply. Or if you are visiting families or vacation, anything like that, so you can refer to the dates here. So, for example, for the fall 2025, for all the master degree and PhD program, usually you don't have final exams. Usually you don't have. And then, so that means the last day of classes. So back then is December 1st, 2025. So usually early first week of December, that's usually the last day of classes. So once you finish that, that means no classes. You are free to go. So you can refer to the first day of classes back then, January 2027. later on, so you can kind of like arrange your time accordingly. So update information will be on the website sometime in July. There are there's 1 week studying week in the middle of the term. Every term you have 13 weeks. So the studying week in the middle of the term, that week you don't have classes, but you do have projects or your MRP or your um, assignments or readings, but you don't have to come to campus if you don't have part-time job on campus. So those are the information we want to give you ahead, so you have something to refer to. Um, the last reminder is the Toronto Metropolitan Graduate Student Union and the dental and health plan. If for some reason you have coverage from your spouse, partner, parents, or any other sort of coverage, you have option to opt out of the health and dental plan. For the fall 2026, the deadline is they open the application on August 1st, so it's early. And then the deadline is October 3rd. So we want to put this reminder ahead because the house and dental plan is a big chunk of money. So if you do have coverage elsewhere, so you need to take a note of this deadline. So information about the process, what kind of form you need to submit is on the TMGSU website. We will have a session talk about Toronto Metropolitan Graduate Student Union. They have scholarships, they have travel funding, they have conference funding, they have events, social events, things like that. So we will have 1 hour session sometime in August. So that information will be posted on the onboarding website as well. Okay, so this is the final real ending of the session. So this is just helpful links again. Here is just a reminder, if you are international, you are applying for a study permit from United States, we have next session, April 15. So the next session for most of you, all of you is zone learning and TMU. So zone learning is we have many zones and TMU. Essentially, this is an entrepreneurship incubator that we have funding and resources to facilitate students to develop their project. And then there's funding there as well. So we will have this session to talk about all the zones that are available for you, the resources you can take advantage of. If your major research project happens to be something that we have the zone there, so you can have all that information on hand. I think this is the last slides. Okay, so thank you. We are over the time. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me find the not share so I can see all of you guys. Okay. Um, in the chat. Okay. There's a question. If I have a family function outside of the country at the end of November, would the professors be flexible with the presentation dates with this much given notice? Um, um, if so required courses and the elective courses, you kind of have to check with all your professors in each course individually, depending on whether they have final project or presentation. Sometimes they don't. So you can check with each one of them. So if they can accommodate, they will. So make sure you connect with them. The first day you have the course outline, so you know the due date for the project or final due assignments or last day of a class. So you have all of those. So you should check with each professor in each class. So that is up to the professor. Great question. Also, is there a reading week for master student? Yes, I just mentioned there's a reading week in the middle of the week for master student, PhD student. So in that week, you don't have classes, so you don't have to come to the TMU campus. Next question, how would I go about applying for student accessibility services or are there any available from? Yes, Um, so the page I shared earlier about all the resources we have for, um, one second, let me find my, we have the um, student accommodation team and TMU. They have great resources and all the information to accommodate the students. Um, so you can reach out to them early. It's called academic accommodation support. Um, in this case, I encourage you to reach out to them. Even now, once you accept the offer, pay the deposit, so you can have all the information and deadline ahead, so you can apply. It's a Zoom learning meeting on Zoom or in person. It's virtual, so all the onboarding session are on virtual because we try to accommodate students outside of the Canada. So that's including both domestic and international. So it's virtual, and all the onboarding session will be recorded and posted on the onboarding session for the students who are unable to attend. Okay, great questions. Um, Let me know if you have any questions. I don't see any more questions on my end. Oh, there's a QA. Okay. Is it too late to apply for scholarship? I think I answered this question, depending on which one. If we have been accepted into multiple, okay, I answered that one as well. All right, great questions. Um, Okay, I don't see any more questions. I will be on the onboarding session Zoom learning, that one to facilitate the session. So I will see some of you again. Thanks very much for the attendance today, and very nice to meet some of you for the first time. It's a pleasure to put a name on a face, right? So because I have been communicating with most of you while email, some of you guys attended the back info session. So the more that you are gonna attend the session, the more I'm gonna remember your face, your name. So by the time you are joining the in person later on, we will be friends. All right, so I'm gonna pass here to stop recording. Thanks very much. I look forward to meet many one of you later on the series of onboarding sessions, and I can't wait to meet you in person later on. All right.